Hi class, how are you? Give me a thumbs up if you're doing good. So am I. Okay, well today we're going to learn about one more scientist, but before that, let's review what we have learned. First, we learned about some brothers that made the first airplanes. Do you remember their names? That's right, the Wright brothers. What were they called? Get ready. Yes, the Wright brothers. They created the first airplane. Orville and Wilbur, right, were the ones who created the first airplane, and those were the first scientists we learned about. Then we learned about a different type of scientist, which was George Washington Carver, who taught us thousands of ways to use peanuts. He also helped the farmers with learning how to grow the soil, make it stronger so we can have many plants that we eat today. Today, we're going to learn about a different type of scientist, and her name is Jane Goodall. Can you say her name with me? Get ready. Jane Goodall. Yes? So raise your hand if you have ever tried to stay very still and watch an animal. Hands down. Now maybe you have looked out the window and you saw a hummingbird at a bird feeder. Or maybe you watched a mother dog lick her puppy's clean. Or maybe you sat very quietly and looked at a fly as it landed on your arm. Well, you can learn a lot about animals by watching them closely, especially if you're careful not to scare them. We're going to learn about the scientist named Jane Goodall, who actually was great at watching animals. So, Jane Goodall loved to watch animals. What did she like to do? Get ready. Yes, she loved to watch animals. And some of the animals she watched were chickens and earthworms. What were the two animals Jane Goodall liked to watch? Get ready. Yes, chicken and earthworms. That is right. Jane loved watching animals to learn more about them. And Jane Goodall once crouched in a hen house to watch chickens. She had to be very quiet for hours. Raise your hand if you have ever seen a chicken. Eggs come from chicken. Well, Jane watched the chickens so that she could see how they laid eggs. But to do this, she had to be very quiet and still for many, many hours. Once she even brought earthworms to her bed to see how they moved. Raise your hand if you would ever bring an earthworm to your bed. Don't do it. When she grew up, Jane Goodall went to Africa. Can you guess what her favorite animal to watch in Africa was? Think. Well, apes and chimpanzees. They were her favorite animal to watch. What were her favorite animal to watch? Get ready. Yes, apes and chimpanzees. She liked apes and chimpanzees because their bodies are so much like our bodies. She thought that we could learn a lot from them. Jane Goodall went to a part of Africa where hunters were not allowed and where a group of hundreds of chimpanzees lived in. She would get up at 5:30 in the morning and climb a hill and look through binoculars trying to see how chimpanzees lived. Can you make binoculars with your hands over your eyes? Like this. Good job. Right, binoculars are a special instrument that makes things that are far away look close up. So when Jane first watched the chimpanzees, they were very scared of her. But after a few years, they became good friends. And Jane learned that chimpanzees were a lot like humans. They will hold hands like we do. They will hug. They will kiss. They would fight, and they would talk to each other. Do you think chimpanzees talk like you and I, class? No, they don't. That's right. How do you think they talk? Yeah, that's silly. Well, she even saw chimpanzees make tools, like a bug trap to catch termites so that they could eat them. Raise your hand if you think chimpanzees sound pretty smart. Yeah, they do. They are a lot like humans, right? So Jane lived in Africa studying chimpanzees for 40 years and she could recognize chimpanzees and call many of them by name, like David, Goliath, and Honeybee. How long did Jane study the chimpanzees in Africa? Get ready. Yes, 40 years. So that was the scientist we were talking about, Jane Goodall.